Hey guys, and welcome to the Value of the Phoenix podcast. My name is Patrice, and I hope that you are doing well. So this is episode 3 of our podcast, and we are going to be discussing limiting beliefs. Now, limiting beliefs, I personally believe that when you are first starting out on your self-concept journey, this is the place that you should start first. So we are going to look into limiting beliefs today, and I hope that you guys enjoy. Okay, so we can't talk limiting beliefs without firstly talking about our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind stores our beliefs, our memories, our traumas, things like that. So in terms of beliefs, it's basically to do with how you perceive yourself in relation to whatever thing it might be. So in relation to others, in relation to yourself, in relation to your job, your money, your career, whatever it might be. And so with your beliefs, your subconscious mind stores your good beliefs and also your bad beliefs and your indifferent beliefs. And these beliefs are generally formed from your childhood years. So most people would say that that is from the age of 0 to the age of around 7, 8 years old. And those are the crucial years of your childhood where you essentially form your subconscious mind. All of the relationships that you saw, all of the friendships that you saw, just life in general, those parts of your childhood end up coming into your subconscious mind, and that essentially forms your beliefs. So your beliefs about yourself, your beliefs about others, and your beliefs about the world. So like I said, the beliefs can be good, bad, indifferent. It is a variety of different beliefs, but I'll give you a few examples if you're not sure what these could potentially be. So in terms of a good belief that you could store in your subconscious mind, it could be that you are really good at your finances, for example. Maybe you're really good at maths, and that has enabled you to be really good with your money, with your finances, with numbers in general. That could be seen as a good belief. So when you go into a certain situation that requires you to use those skills, it is likely that you will be confident in your abilities because you have a good dominant belief about yourself in relation to numbers, in relation to finances. A bad dominant belief that you could have is that relationships are really, really difficult for you. So when you are put in a situation, i.e. a relationship, you will go into that relationship with confidence that that relationship is going to be hard, because that is a bad dominant belief that you have about yourself in relation to relationships. So when we talk about negative dominant beliefs, those are essentially your limiting beliefs. So those are limiting you from having what it is that you truly deep down may desire. And if you didn't know already, all of your limiting beliefs, they are all fear-based. They all come back to a certain fear that you may have about that situation. And like I said, majority of the time, that is from any childhood trauma, childhood wounds, or just your childhood in general, things that you saw in the first 0 to 8 years of your life that have now formed that belief in your subconscious mind. So yes, this is very sciencey, it is a lot to do with how your brain works, but once you truly understand it, I think that it is really, really enlightening and will really open your eyes to how your brain actually works. So let's quickly touch on that, because I feel like this part of it is really important when it comes to your self-concept journey. And that is that your brain is always trying to prove you right when it comes to any beliefs that you have. So good, bad, or indifferent, your brain wants to actively seek out evidence in your day-to-day life to confirm to you that any kind of belief that you have is true. And this is why you will notice that if you are in a certain situation with someone, for example, they could look at a situation in a completely different way that you look at a situation. And that is because everyone's limiting beliefs are all based on their perception of the world, their beliefs. And it's very unlikely that you will have the exact same limiting beliefs as someone else. So I'll give you an example. When people say that like each child or each sibling that you have has a different version of your mum and dad. You will all have different interactions with your parents. And it's not necessarily that it's going to be, always a bad thing. You're basically going to have different interactions with your parents. Another example that I really like to give is that, let's say, for example, you are on the train and you see someone looking at you. Now, if you have a dominant negative belief, i.e. a limiting belief that you are, ugly, for example, or not the most attractive person, you may have the perception, you may perceive in that situation that that person is staring at you because you are not good looking or because you are ugly. You may feel like that's the reason why that person is looking at you. Whereas there could be the exact same person in the exact same situation, but they may have a dominant strong belief, a dominant positive belief that they are really beautiful. And so they may look at that situation and say, that person's staring at me because they think that I'm beautiful. They're admiring my beauty. Do you see how perception works? It literally just depends on your beliefs about yourself. And one of the most annoying things I think about being a human is that when it comes to like previous survival techniques, for example, we were always on the lookout for danger. So essentially, that is why as humans, we find it a lot easier to see the negatives in our day-to-day lives than it is to see the positives in our day-to-day lives. We just notice the negative a lot more than we notice the positive, which is really, really sad. That's why I always say to people, it's really good to try and practice gratitude anywhere that you can. If you notice something positive, like enjoy that moment, be present in that moment, because essentially that is a really good way for you to notice the positives in your life rather than constantly focusing on the negatives. But yeah, sadly, that is just how our brains work, and it is there to essentially protect us. However, one thing that you will notice as you go on your self-concept journey is that sometimes your brain is trying to protect you from a danger that might not necessarily be there at that moment, or it might be giving you this idea in your mind that a situation is bad when really that situation isn't. It's just the way that you are perceiving that situation because of your limiting beliefs. So there's so many limiting beliefs out there, but I have really noticed that all limiting beliefs generally come back to this idea that we are not good enough. I have really noticed that, it doesn't really matter what your limiting beliefs are. Once you get to the crux of it, once you really understand why you have that limiting belief, majority of the time, it is a feeling of not being good enough. And sadly, these limiting beliefs can stop us from having the lives that we really want, having the relationships that we really want, having the friendships that we really want. It can really stop us in our tracks from going after the things that we actually want, because we have this fear, because we have this idea that we are not good enough for certain things. And the thing about limiting beliefs as well is that you may have more limiting beliefs in one area of your life than you do in another area of your life. I have really, really found this to be true. And I have noticed, from working with clients and just, seeing in my day-to-day life, seeing on TV, seeing in films, most of the time, people have the most limiting beliefs when it comes to romantic relationships. And I guess maybe that is because, romantic relationships and friendships as well require a certain level of vulnerability, and a lot of people are scared to have to, essentially get that deep, because in those situations you learn so much about yourself and realize that, your limiting beliefs are actually holding you back. And a lot of people are scared to actually acknowledge their limiting beliefs, because essentially that means that you get to decide now, okay, am I going to make the change or am I not? And sadly, as I spoke about in our previous episode, a lot of people don't want to make changes in their lives because they are scared to make those changes. They are so used to the comfortability of the person that they are right now, even if that person is not who they really, really want to be. They're scared to make the change. They would rather stay comfortable in a situation that they know that they don't want to be in, because it's easier for them. It's easier to not change than it is to change. And one thing that I find really interesting when it comes to limiting beliefs is that a lot of people don't actually know what their limiting beliefs are. And I can remember when I first discovered, self-concept, when I first discovered the law of assumption, I was actually quite blown away when I realized what my limiting beliefs actually were. And I think it's because of this idea that just because you have good, positive, dominant beliefs in most of the areas of your life doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be exactly the same across all of the areas of your life. And I think that was the shock for me, because you really start to realize, okay, wow, in this specific area of my life, I don't view myself highly, or in this specific area of my life, I don't think that I'm good enough. Whereas you could be living your best life in all of these other areas of your life. And I think that, that really knocked me back, because it made me realize, like, wow, I still have, quite a bit of work to do here. Whereas it can be very easy to just think that you're healed. It can be very easy to assume that, because everything else in your life is working out, that this other area doesn't require the work. So if you are someone that is unsure about what your limiting beliefs actually are, we have an ebook on our website, and it is dedicated to helping you identify and challenge your limiting beliefs. So make sure that you check it out on our website, www.thevalueofthe.phoenix.com. Okay, so you've done the hardest bit now. You've figured out what your limiting beliefs are. What happens now? So this is where it's time for you to do the work to basically start working on those limiting beliefs, because we can acknowledge them, but now it's time to get the ball rolling, get things in motion. It's time to start actively working on getting rid of those limiting beliefs. So how do you actually do that? So firstly, you need to actually look at why you have those limiting beliefs in the first place. And this is another part of your self-concept journey that you may find a bit overwhelming, but I have to really emphasize that just because something is overwhelming and really difficult doesn't mean that you shouldn't push through with it. This is all about stepping out of our comfort zone. This is all about understanding ourselves so that we can better ourselves. We want to improve our lives, and therefore we need to put in that work. So I know for a lot of people, it can be quite hard to look back at things that, happened in your childhood. It can be extremely easy to want to blame everyone else. And, it is very annoying knowing that some of the stuff that we are going through in our adult years were caused by people in our childhood, but now it's our responsibility to make the changes to better ourselves. Like, it can be quite frustrating. And I know that a lot of people kind of struggle with that idea, because it's like, well, they done this to me, like your parents or your caregivers, your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, whoever it was that was in your life at that time. It can be very easy to say, well, they did this to me, so they need to fix it. They need to do this, they need to do that. But really, it's not actually their problem anymore. And that is not very nice to hear. But your healing is about you. It's not about them. It is about you. And so once you understand why you behave the way that you behave, why you do the things that you do, why you have the limiting beliefs that you have, it will make it a lot easier for you to actively work on them, because you'll understand why you behave like that. The next thing that you need to do is acknowledge that you are ready for change. That is the next step when it comes to working on your limiting beliefs. You have to actually acknowledge that you are ready for change. You have to actively say to yourself, okay, I am ready to make the changes in my life that I need to make in order for me to become this best version of myself thus far. You have to acknowledge it. And the way that you can acknowledge it is to look at your reasons as to why you want to change. When you have a why, when you have, that kind of driving force that is pushing you to want more for yourself, you'll continue to want more for yourself. When you understand your why, it will push you further. So really sit and acknowledge why you want to make these changes now. What has happened in your life that you are sick of going through? What are the things, the mistakes that you keep on making over and over again? What is your why? Really sit and think about why you are ready for change. And once you do that, it is time for you to start working on your self-concept. Self-concept is there to essentially help you work on these limiting beliefs. And one of the best ways that you can start working on your limiting beliefs is to take a look at what you want your life to look like. What do you want out of life? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to look like? What do you want your relationships to look like? What do you want your day-to-day life to look like? You need to sit down and really think about what it is that you truly want out of your life. Because again, this can serve as a driving force to push you to keep going. When you know that this is the end goal, it will push you further as well. Okay, so one of the first things that you can do is to start affirming. Now, as you know, based off of my channel, I absolutely love affirmations, and it was affirmations that really changed my life. It allowed me to really pick up on my negative thought patterns and the fact that it was so easy for me to constantly look at the negatives in life, and that was due to my thought patterns. When you have this negative thought pattern, it actually invites your brain to seek out more of that negativity. So that is why when you meet people who are pessimists, even when things are going good in their life, they don't even pay attention to it. They are so focused on the negative, and that leads to more negative. Whereas optimistic people, even though they could be going through something that is negative, they will really try and look at the silver lining, any kind of thing that they can find to say, okay, I get why this is happening, or, they'll really try and look for a positive in any situation. And I realized, okay, I need to become more of an optimist. I need to work on having more positive thoughts throughout the day. I need to work on changing my subconscious mind through what I am thinking. So I would definitely say it is always a good idea to start with affirmations. And obviously you need to make sure that those affirmations are specific to you as a person. There's no point in you saying the exact same affirmations as your friend or your cousin or your sister, whoever it is, because they are not you. Your affirmations need to be specific to your wants, your needs, and your limiting beliefs. So now that we know that your affirmations are there to help you handle your thoughts, what else can you do to help you on your self-concept journey? Now, one of my other favorite things to do is visualize. I absolutely love visualization. And I think for a lot of people, when they can truly imagine and see what it is that they want out of their life, it makes it feel a lot more real. It makes it feel like, okay, I can really attain this. Because ultimately, if you can't see yourself in your mind, if you can't see yourself with what it is that you actually want, it's going to be difficult for you to feel like it is attainable for you. Whereas if you can visualize it, if you can see it, if you can smell it, if you can taste it, if you can conjure up all of those things in your mind, it will make it feel so much more real to you and so much more attainable. You will feel like you can do it. You will feel like you can achieve it. So I have personally found that when it comes to visualization, the best time for me to do that is when I kind of just remember it throughout my day, but mainly in the morning when I've just woken up, or in the night when I'm ready to go to sleep. And this state that you would be in is called the state akin to sleep. And Neville Goddard, who I would say is the pioneer of the law of assumption, he talks about the state akin to sleep. And he says that, this is one of the best times for you to visualize and truly think about what it is that you desire. So yeah, have a little go at visualization. I think sometimes at the start it can feel a little bit weird because it's like, oh, okay, you might start thinking about something else. You might forget what you're thinking about, because you're not used to it. But it's just like with meditation. Once you start doing it, you will get better at it. And it's all just about getting rid of that outer noise and thinking and focusing on what it is that you actually want to think about, what it is that is in your mind. And one of the other things that you can do on your self-concept journey to tackle your limiting beliefs is to start making better decisions. This really changed the game for me. Like, this was the thing that I think really made me realize that I do have the power to create the life that I truly desire. I just have to start making better decisions, better choices. I need to be more aware of the decisions that I'm making and why. And when you are able to start making better decisions, you're giving your brain, you're giving your subconscious mind evidence that you are capable of doing it. And that in turn will lead you to want to do it more, because you'll start trusting yourself. You'll start trusting your decision making. You'll know that you're able to make the right choices based on what it is that you truly desire. So all of these things that you'll be doing will basically be showing your brain, this is the new me, okay? The new me thinks these positive thoughts, even in the face of adversity. The new me is able to visualize all of the things that I want. I understand my why. I'm focused on my goals. And also the new me is able to make better decisions. And essentially what that does in your brain is that it makes your subconscious realize, oh, okay, so she's done this a few times before. And she's done it again. Oh, okay, this is the new her. I'm going to start focusing on this new her, because she hasn't done the things that she used to do before. She's not that old her anymore. She is this new person because I'm noticing her better thoughts. I'm noticing her better decisions. That is essentially what your brain will do. It will start to pick up on all of these little changes that you're making in your day-to-day life, and it will then create a new you in your subconscious mind. That is how you change these limiting beliefs into better, positive beliefs. But one thing that I need to highlight to you is that this will only work if you are consistent with it. It is the consistency that will get you far in any journey that you are on. Not just a self-concept journey, a self-love journey, a fitness journey, a career journey. It is all about having that consistency. That is what will create these new neural pathways in your mind. That is what will make your brain see, okay, so she's doing this regularly. This is who she is now. That is what will make the changes. It is the repetition and the consistency. You need to be consistent in this new version of you. Consistency helps to build trust in yourself, and it also helps to build confidence in yourself. It gives your brain evidence of what you're capable of over an extended period of time. It improves your self-concept, which is obviously what we want. And it makes you want to keep trying because you're giving yourself that evidence that you can actually do it. I can make better decisions. I can trust myself. I know what it is that I need to do in order to become this better me. So once you start making those decisions, that is when you will just become that new version of you. Show your brain that you are capable, because once you do it once, you'll do it again, you will keep doing it, and then it will just become so easy for you. You won't even need to think of it as much, because you will know this is the new me. This is who I am. Therefore, you won't be making the same old mistakes that you were making before. And even if you do, when you know, okay, that was just a slip up, I can get back on it, you won't be in that slip up for a very long time. Trust me. You'll be like, oh, okay, I can see that that's trying to come back again. We're not going to do that. I am this new improved version of me. I know what it is that I need to do now. And I'm going to keep giving my brain that evidence that it needs to show it that I am this new me. Remember, guys, when it comes to your self-concept journey, it will be your actions that will speak louder than your words. It will be your decision making, the choices that you make, that will really show you whether you've actually changed as a person. Now, we are all human. There are going to be times where we are going to be faced with adversity. There are going to be times where, the old story might creep back in. So what can you actually do in those situations to help you keep moving forward? The first thing that you can do is to remember your why. So I would really recommend at the start of your self-concept journey, write down your why. Write it in a diary, write it in your notes on your phone, write it somewhere that you've got easy access to, so that you can always refer back to it when you're having those days, weeks, months where you don't want to work on your self-concept anymore, or there's so much stuff going on that you don't want to deal with. Have a look back at your why. Have a look back, have it written down somewhere so that you can always go back to it to be reminded why you need to continue moving forward, why you deserve to keep moving forward. Why are you improving your self-concept? Oh, because Why do you want to become this best version of yourself? Oh, because That's the reason. Those are the reasons. So always make sure that you are referring back to those reasons throughout your self-concept journey. And obviously these can change as your journey continues. Obviously these will change. So that's why it's always important to reflect, look back on, see whether there's anything that you want to add, see if there's anything that you can say, do you know what, I've achieved that now, that can kind of get crossed off the list. It's always good to look back on things so that you can, one, see just how far that you've come, and two, see whether there's any, kind of changes or amendments that you need to make there. But ultimately, your why should be at the forefront. So if you do come across adversity, another thing that you can really do, and I push this so much, is to give yourself grace. Give yourself grace and show yourself compassion. A lot of the time, us as people, we find it so easy to give others grace, but for some reason we find it so difficult to give that to ourselves. We find it so difficult to show ourselves that compassion. One of the best things that I would say that I'd done that really changed my life was that I started talking to myself the way that I talk to my friends. When my friends are going through a hard time and they come to me for advice, or, they want to talk about something, or they're not sure about something, I always think, okay, what advice would I give my friend? Because I realized that, when it comes to people that you love, you want the best for them. And so sometimes you have to look and think, okay, if I can want that for my friends, why can't I want that for myself? So I would definitely say one of the best ways to do that, like I said, is to talk to yourself like you would your best friend. If your best friend came to you with a situation that you are in right now, what advice would you give her? How would you talk to her? How would you console her? Give that to yourself. Give yourself that grace and that compassion. And one of the other ways that you can really get through times that you are going through adversity, or where you're not feeling your best, or you notice that your negative thought patterns are really, showing themselves at the forefront, one thing that you can really do is to allow yourself to actually feel those emotions. I am not the type of person to tell you oh, well, you just need to just get over it. Oh, well, you need to just do this. You need to just do that. It is really important for you as a person to acknowledge your emotions, acknowledge why you are feeling the way that you are feeling. And one of the best ways to do that is to literally just ask yourself why. Why am I feeling like this? What is this showing me? Why did this trigger me so much? Why did this upset me so much? Because once you answer that why, it will lead you to ask more whys. So it triggered me because, it made me feel like I'm not good enough. Why do you think that you're not good enough? And again, this goes back to where those limiting beliefs come from. And it will actually help you to realize those limiting beliefs, they're not your own. They're actually not your own. Those limiting beliefs were essentially put on you when you were younger. They don't belong to you. Once you understand that your limiting beliefs do not define you as a person, it'll make it a lot easier for you to actively work on them. So when it comes to, dealing with hard situations, triggering situations, difficult situations, whatever it may be, one of the ways that you will know that you have really changed as a person and have become this new and improved version of yourself is by how you react to it, how you deal with the circumstances, how you work through your emotions. That is what will really determine whether you've actually changed as a person. So yeah, guys, if you are really ready to work on your limiting beliefs, definitely make sure that you check out our website, but also just check in with yourself. Make sure that you know why you want to do this. Make sure that you understand why you are ready to make these changes. But yes, guys, your limiting beliefs, they don't have to hold you back any longer. Those fear-based beliefs that you have, they can be pushed to the side, okay? It's time for us to become these new and improved versions of ourselves. And in order to do that, we do need to work on our limiting beliefs. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that it was insightful. I hope that, this will make you realize why working on your limiting beliefs is so important on a self-concept journey. But yes, guys, I will catch you in the next one. See ya.